2, 1, go.
Uh, I don't want to connect with the device. Hi, everyone. I am Paul, Mr. Clean Morning, having less fun than any human being can possibly have. And today, what the? It's movie side! Movie side! Movie side! Movie side! Okay, yes, it's a new episode or series or whatever called Movie Sign. And today is Groundhog Day! Really, it is. And so today we're going to review the movie Groundhog Day, of course. And this is my favorite Bill Murray film of all time. And it looks like, according to Punxsutawney Phil, 6 more weeks of winter. Boom, 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 boom. Oh. And speaking of which, this Thursday, my top 16 list will be the 16 reasons why winter eats. But Buckeye Chuck did not see a shadow. Still 6 more weeks of winter. But here's a prediction. It's going to be dark, it's going to be cold, and it's going to last you for the rest of your life. So, yeah, the movie, it also stars Andy McDowell and Chris Elliott, the guy who did all those Tostitos commercials in the 90s. But after 1997, they stopped those Tostitos commercials because of a Super Bowl commercial that went wrong. Because they were going to have people jump off bungee jump, and one of the people sadly died from an accident from that.
What does that have to do with the movie Groundhog Day?
Because they had Chris Elliott.
Okay, fine.
Okay, but okay. So it starts off with Bill Murray as Phil Connors as a weatherman from Pittsburgh. Boo! But he's a guy who hates his job and is very egotistical. And now he has to go to Punxsutawney the next day with Rita, played by Andy McDowell, and his cameraman called Larry. And so they're going to Punxsutawney, and Bill Connors says, I'm not going to do this anymore. Everyone will think I have no life. People are morons. So his ego is stroking, and so Rita and Larry decide to go to this hotel that Bill hated because he had a bad time. He'd be a great Yelper if Yelp was around in 93. And so he goes to this nice little bread and breakfast.
Wait, what's it called?
Bed and breakfast.
Oh, okay. I heard bread and breakfast.
Bread and breakfast. So the next day is Groundhog Day. So he hears the Sonny and Cher's #1 song, I Got You, Babe. Or it could have been, I could turn back time, but he meets up with this homeless guy, and then Ned Ryerson sees him out of the blue. Bill Connors? And so it took him a while to get to the town square in Punxsutawney. Gobbler's Knob. That's what it is. And so...
I'm sorry, what's it called?
Gobbler's Knob.
Oh, okay, that sounds filthy.
But that's what it's called.
Okay.
But it's actually filmed in Woodstock, Illinois, who actually had their own Groundhog Day events after this film came out, because they were trying to film it in Punxsutawney, but unfortunately it didn't fit in. And Harold Ramis, I think, was a Chicagoan. But so Bill's brother, Brian Doyle, makes the announcement that I hear there's 6 more weeks of winter. And then you get boom, 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 boom. Oh. And so Bill's like, here's a time when TV does not disappoint us. I'm Bill Connors. I appreciate being here. Goodbye. And then Rita says, can we do that again? It's like, we got it. Let's go home. But unfortunately, they can't go home because of the blizzard that he thought was going to go through Altoona. It's like, I make the weather. So he's stuck in Punxsutawney. and decides to go to bed. And then the next day, it's Groundhog Day. And it's like, I'm reliving the same day over again? No, it can't be. And so then it happens again and again. And I want to, and now for a disclaimer, for all you people who do not like spoilers, unless if you do like spoilers, keep watching. If you don't, I encourage you to get the movie Groundhog Day. You will not be disappointed at all. Buy it, rent it, mark it with the G.
By the letter G.
Groundhog Day.
Oh.
And stream it, whatever. And don't forget to watch more shows from the Warner Brothers production show. Soon we'll have the Warner Brothers Sports Show.
It's called the Warner Brothers Broadcasting Network.
Which home of the Warner Brothers Sports Show and Top 16, as well as Movie Sign, which is happening,
which you're watching right now. Yeah.
And this weekend is going to be the Pop Bowl, or the Soda Bowl, or the Cola Bowl, depends on where you're living. Who will win, red or blue? So,
what day are we doing that?
I don't care.
We'll talk about that. You're live now. It's something we probably should talk about.
Okay, but pretty soon we'll have the odd, the bland, and the spicy. So
that's a cooking show.
Cooking show. Make sure. So subscribe and ring that bell for more information to get notified. So Phil decides to go to this little diner and he says, I'm not going, I need my head examined or something. So the neurologist, played by the director, Harold Ramis, in real life, Ramis and Murray had a fallout or whatever.
It was after this movie, wasn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Because Murray was going through a lot of stuff. So
Murray was going through a really bad divorce.
Yes.
And they also disagreed very heavily on what the tone of the movie should be. Bill Murray thought it should be darker, right?
I'm not sure, but
I'll
mention a little more about that later.
Oh, you will? My bad.
Well, don't worry. This is.
Sorry for bringing it up now.
But he also sees a psychologist, and he says, "Why don't you go back to Pittsburgh?" But he can't go because of the blizzard, and he doesn't know if there's going to be a tomorrow. And so he hangs out with a couple bowling guys. I'm sorry, it's not the Big Lebowski bowling guys. It would be funny though. Like, dude, that's your opinion, man. So they have a night of debauchery by drinking and driving and running through the railroad tracks and hitting a fire hydrant, I think, or mailbox. And then, so Bill goes to jail, and the next morning, he's back in bed at bed and breakfast. So at that point, he had a devil may care attitude. He meets up with Nancy that he knew in high school. He makes out with her by the big fireplace in a funny sort of way, like how I would make out with somebody if you see the film. But then soon.
Well, what happens in the film?
Well,
wait, yeah, you don't want to spoil it. You're talking to the people who don't care.
Oh, yeah, this is the second part. So, yeah, he already. I already mentioned.
Well, he gets rejected by her, right? That's your point.
No, that's Nancy. I haven't got to that part.
Oh, okay, you're still talking about it. My bad.
So he even robs. He even takes some money from a bank car and decides to watch a Clint Eastwood film. Do you feel lucky, punk? And so he still has that devil may care attitude until he decides to have a relationship with Rita. But every time he gets rejected, and it's like he feels like he's failed upon her. He failed. He doesn't understand why, but he knows Rita now, and then she's like, what? She's like, it's like some creepy Alfred Hitchcock kind of thing. But this is where the film turns dark. This is the darkest part. Bill decides to sleep in through Groundhog Day, but no avail. So he decides to take the groundhog, take as well as the truck with that his brother has, and he drives.
Now that's his real life brother. In the movie, it's the mayor, right?
Yeah, mayor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he drives off a cliff. The car explodes, and no groundhogs were harmed in the making of this film. But Bill Murray did get harmed. He got bitten by the groundhog and Bill Murray did almost died when making this film because of the groundhog bites. Because he had to get some stitches for that. But he tries to electrocute himself. He tries to fall off of the hotel building. He gets poisoned. He gets stabbed. He gets barbecued. He gets crucified. Okay, maybe that didn't happen, but so Rita decides to why don't she see Phil a while, see what happens. Almost like the same time he was dating her but failed, but this time it was more like she sees that it's midnight. It's like, uh-oh, I gotta get back.
Yeah, she's supposed to disappear. Isn't that the line?
Yeah, it's supposed to disappear or something, but unfortunately, it happens when Phil goes to sleep. And then he wakes up and he decides he's got to know more about the town of Punxsutawney. So he practices piano, he sculpts ice sculptures, he's like helping out people in the neighborhood, like fixing their tires.
And he's also improving himself as a person.
Yes. So, but he even helps this homeless man, but every time he dies. So Groundhog Day was his last day, supposedly, or for the homeless guy.
Yeah.
And so then you see Phil making a heartwarming, breathtaking monologue that was by Chekhov. So he later goes to the party that he didn't go to in the first part because he was in the bar getting drunk. It's like, he has some more booze in this. I'll have booze in it. It looks like this African American bartender. He's like just looks at the people.
Well, it's a comment on saying that the drink was not strong enough for his life.
Yes,
because he was just wanting to get wasted because he kept living the same day over and over again.
Yes,
I mean it's a metaphor for how his life was before. That he was basically like living his life.
Yeah,
it's a deeper meaning that you get caught in the trap falls of your everyday life.
Yeah, like even those every score on Jeopardy, he probably would watch Wheel of Fortune drunk as well, because it's like, yeah, I'd like to take an F. Yeah, can I buy a vowel a U? Yeah, so at the party, everyone really likes Phil Connors, and Rita buys Phil for a big amount of money, and then
so yeah, they're all impressed by his great piano playing. The women remember him as the nice man from the Rotary Club because he changes the lady's tire at one point, and then they have a bachelor auction. That's how Rita buys him. Yeah, that's what it's called. A bachelor. She doesn't just buy him.
Okay, bachelor, fine.
I'm just saying. Okay, you jumped to the Rita bottom part.
And I took a dump on me.
No, it wasn't one of those.
Okay, but
you kind of skipped a couple important things.
So Larry decides to get up on the stage, and some old lady buys him for a quarter, 2 bits, a quarter of $1, 25 cents, and I don't understand why it was called 2 bits. So Phil decides to stay with Rita, and like the next day is February 3rd, and they decide to stay in Punxsutawney. And again, this is my favorite. And if I made a 16 best Bill Murray films, this is number 1. Sorry, spoilers. But in some ways, I kind of see the 5 stages of grief in this film.
Okay.
Denial is like, they can't be Groundhog Day again.
Right.
Anger is like, yeah, you know what? Forget all this. I'm just going to do whatever I damn well please. Bargaining is like, Rita, Look, ow. Depression. Okay, goodbye. Bonk. And acceptance. This town really is growing on me, or something like that.
Yeah, if I've got to spend the rest of my life here.
Yeah.
Now, there's an important caveat to that. It's because you kind of just brushed over the ending real quick. So now it's finally February 3rd.
Yes.
And he's grown to actually like himself, like other people, and enjoy this town.
Yep.
And that it's an embodiment of the positivity that is now so important in his life. So now, do you have something on the big back and forth that Murray and Ramis had?
Well, not really.
Because this was the main thing. Was Ramis wanted it to be more of a lighthearted comedy than it wound up being, and I think I counted it one time before. They show that it happens like 39 different times. Like he goes through the day, roughly.
And it was basically about 1,000 years.
And that was Bill Murray's point to it, was that he wanted it to play out that it was like hell or purgatory or maybe even hell. And that was an allegory towards this being the worst place that you could be, because he lives through this for you said 1,000 years. I forget what it was. I thought it wasn't quite that long, but that it was for decades. Like he lives through that day, Groundhog's Day, just for an infinite amount of time. If it gets to a point where it's why the dark part, as good of a snippet as it was supposed to be more of the film. Yeah. But the point being is that you couldn't make a whole movie like that because then it's too dark. Well, I have somewhat of it has a Frank Capra-ish feel too, because you have this kind of guy who's like has one way, then he gets another scenario. But you know who actually almost got the role? Tom Hanks. How would you feel about Tom Hanks saying, "I'm a god. I'm not going back to Punxsutawney"? It probably would have worked, but I don't know. Tom Hanks is a little too nice, but he probably would do one scene that Bill Murray would refuse to do. It was a nude scene. Not the one where he's in the shower and the water's too cold? Right. Oh, okay. There was kind of one scene where he just walks outside without any... Because Tom Hanks has done that. Okay. I've heard that he did that. But yeah. So... Yeah, and there was actually a scene where Phil was going to destroy the whole his room. Yeah, and they said that would take far too much time. Yeah, they cut a lot out of the original script. Yes, from what I've heard. That's one of my favorite lines from the movie. The movie's got tons of great lines, but maybe one of the best was where he tells the story of where he was down in Aruba or something like that. He meets a woman. The Virgin Islands. He was in the Virgin Islands, and he spends, the day just having a great day. This is his best day. Yeah, lobsters. Like, why can't I live that day over and over again? Well, that's kind of the point, is you don't get to live your best day over and over again. Life is made up of the days that seem like your worst days. But if you do your best to make the best out of the everyday, that's the mundane days, just a regular old Groundhog Day. You couldn't make a movie like that and call it and have it revolved around Christmas Day or Easter or Thanksgiving, one of those holidays where you're supposed to enjoy yourself and the people around you and have a good time. You could have done that with 2020. Yeah, you could make a movie and call it 2020, and it would be Groundhog Day. Yes, right. And that's actually was my movie of the year. Groundhog Day, because we lived and we're still living through 2020. It's a good metaphor for 2020. But interestingly enough, last year there was a car commercial that had Bill Murray and the Groundhog doing the same thing over and over and over again. One of my favorite commercials of all time. And it was a Super Bowl commercial, Super Bowl 54. But I'm going to tell you that, that is my favorite Bill Murray film of all time. And so the premise then of this this movie side show is that you go over what your favorite films of all time are, just all together.
I could probably go for bad films sometimes, but maybe.
So it's basically just that you're reviewing movies.
Yes.
That's the point of this show.
Like I could review North. I could review. Yeah, but actually, I have to tell you about next Tuesday's show, which is one of my favorite Jim Carrey films of all time. As a matter of fact, one of my favorite films of 1994, and is also something, and I will give you a little bit of a hint right now.
Earth Girls Are Easy?
No.
Ace Ventura?
No.
Man on the Moon?
The Mask!
Oh, because you're wearing a mask.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. And Jim Carrey did have a great 1994. But as of now, that's the end of Movie Side. Oh, thank God. Let's get out of here. So I'm Mr. Cleveland, having less fun than any human being can ever have.